After 20 years of ups and downs with the Sonic franchise, could this finally be the answer to finally celebrate its Blue Hedgehog's debut? Or is this pretty much another letdown like that letdown of a piece of crap Game Boy Advance game title for the 16th anniversary, which was Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis for Game Boy Advance? Well, let's find out here with the review of Sonic Generations. I am playing the PS3 version of this game, but it is also available for the Xbox 360, the PC, coming soon for the PS Vita once it's finally out, the portable, and the 3DS version, which is coming out tomorrow. So let's get further ado right started with the story to this game, shall we? The story to the game is that it's Sonic's 20th birthday, and pretty much while Sonic and his friends were celebrating, an evil dimension monster breaks through a portal and pretty much breaks both time, both present, and the future, and pretty much separating both worlds into a really dark collision. So it's pretty much up to Sonic, both classic and modern, to pretty much save the day here. Now I'm going to search for a minute and let you guys watch this cutscene.
He'll be here any second.
Hey guys, what's going on? You having a party or something?
What's up, dudes?
Surprise! Aw, you guys.
I realize he's 20 years old, and pretty much I have a friend who's exactly the same age as him and exactly the same type of birthday as Sonic, so it's like weird. And he really grew up with him, especially when he was like 2 or 3.
You totally got me this time. I had no idea.
Yeah, right. Happy birthday, Sonic. Hope you like this.
Of course. Traditional chili dogs.
I love it.
Oh shit, the apocalypse is coming. Sorry.
Sonic, what's that?
I hate the purposes nostalgia curves, like Zool motherfuckers. Sorry, I had to steal a joke from that.
Hey, not cool.
Wow, pwned. That was epic failure at its finest.
Help us!
So yeah, you pretty much get the idea of it. Now let's move on to the gameplay. What I was basically talking about before, in the story when you play as both modern and classic Sonic, I'll get right to it. The classic Sonic, pretty much just like in the old Genesis days, it plays just exactly, you know, with the spin dashing, with pretty much jumping on the enemies without the need of, you know, pretty much a target shot, or actually a homing attack, and pretty much just basically running at a normal type of speed instead of running incredibly fast that pretty much doesn't really define the classic Sonic like Sonic 4 did, which pretty much was a big failure on their part. So anyways, pretty much this is a really great HD version of Green Hill Zone, very classic, very, well, very nostalgia pretty much. 20 years in the making, and this is where it all began. This is where pretty much all of the success, all the fun, excitement of just collecting the Chaos Emeralds, going to the Special Zone, just hooking up the Genesis for the first time and playing this beast, brings me back so many memories as a kid. Now anyways, before I go into memory lane, now let's move on to the modern Sonic. Modern Sonic here plays pretty much, you know, just like it does in pretty much all the newer games, with the homing attack, a speed boost which they added into pretty much in the HD versions of the games, nowadays anyway, and pretty much just going through a very fast racing style and pacing of levels pretty much. And I have to say, the environments, very nice job on Sega's part on making a really modern, awesome, fast-paced racing adventure known as Green Hill Zone. I really love it, and I think Sega really outdone themselves this time. And if you guys want to, you know, this is pretty much the modern Sonic we all know and love, you know. So, it pretty much feels like a mixture between Sonic Unleash, its daytime levels, and Sonic Colors back on the Wii last year. And I have to say, it feels right at home, and I have really no complaints. Except, especially when you actually have to, when you run into things, when you're not really paying attention, it kind of ruins the flow of speed. But then again, it's not all about the speed, it's all about beating the levels. And the challenge factor, of course. Remember, this game is definitely not a walk in the park. There are plenty of hard difficulty levels along the way. Green Hill Zone is just the tip of the iceberg. They also did a really great job making classic versions of such great levels from the Dreamcast era, such as this level right here, which is totally a blast to play, Sonic Adventures 1 Speed Highway, to the pretty much forgettable, the most real, pretty much memorable stage and the most memorable song of all time. You will literally blow your brains out by the end of the day. And of course I am talking City Escape. Yes, the most addicting song of all time and the most overplay level of Sonic Adventure 2 is in this game in classic format, and I have to say it's one of my most favorites out of all the remakes of classics. No, but not this one. I really also love Crisis City from Sonic 06. Yes, the crappy level, pretty much the crappy, Sonic 06 level is also in this game, but done really good, especially in classic format. But it's still very tedious also in the modern format. I'll show you a quick glimpse of it really quickly. Crisis City, again, is one of my most favorite and pretty much redefines of pretty much what creative talent and skills SEGA can really do when it's such a gameplay like this. Even though they never really nailed it back then, finally it's being presented here in this 20th anniversary game. Alrighty, and of course the soundtrack overall, the remix version of this kicks ass. I really gotta love the remix version to this, which is the classic remix. It's just absolutely addicting, and I really do love it, especially how intense it gets when it gets to later on. The modern one, the original modern one's still good too, but this has to be overall my most favorite, because it actually feels like a Genesis soundtrack mixed with like Sonic Rush or anything, or pretty much one of those portable, awesome 2D style like games. Anyways, let's move on to the last example of gameplay, then I'll talk about the overall thoughts of it. Now, even though that they're pretty much regular bosses in this game, there's one new type of feature bosses which will always remain my favorite in this package, and that will be the rival bosses. The rival bosses are pretty much Sonic's all-time rivals going against and challenge like pretty much challenge like boss type battles. That actually makes it really fun and a breath of fresh air from all the usual boss battles that you would get in a Sonic game. And I have to say, this one is my most favorite. Metal Sonic from Speed Highway. Keep in mind they also play both English and Japanese remixes of this stage. While this one has to be the most easiest, it's still the most fun. There is a very, very, very tedious rival challenge, and we all know who that's going to be played out. And no, it's not Silver the Hedgehog, even though he is a rival too. There is one in particular that I just don't that really is just so tedious, but yet so addictively fun, and that would have to be, you guessed it, the Black Hedgehog himself, Shadow. Yes, Shadow. This has to be also my most favorite out of all the rival boss battles, but it's also the most tedious and very, very frustrating as well. But it's still very cool, especially this cool introduction as we see them colliding just like they did 10 years ago on Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube. But yeah, now that I pretty much explained mostly all the stuff about the gameplay, the graphics, the music, what do I think of the game overall? Overall, I think it's a pretty swell, very great way to celebrate its 20th anniversary, and I really think that this is finally the big step to finally people respecting Sonic. Now, pretty much people say it's all about the Mario when it comes to platformers. Well, think again, because now Sonic has finally earned that reputation once again with this game, and not to mention Sonic Colors from last year. So if I have to give this game of any type of score, I would give it about a 9 out of 10. Like I said, I will probably never give basically a game a 10 out of 10, because no game is ever perfect, folks. Let's be honest here. I don't want to be an IGN guy now, would I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get lots of flame jokes for that one. Anyways, the reason why is, like, one, while you do run at very fast speed with Modern, sometimes there will be certain times where you will mess up and it'll ruin the flow, especially in some parts of the gameplay. Not to mention, it'll kind of slow down some of the gameplay sometimes, but not as a whole. It's not really as a whole. I mean, so it's not really a big complaint, but it's still something that I wish it could have really fixed. Also, again, I would have to say the length. The length of it, well, it's only about maybe 7 hours long. There are still some extra challenges you can do, which I will admit is pretty cool as well, which I will show you really quick. These are pretty much little time trial challenges where you pretty much have to reach it at a certain time to complete certain tasks. And it doesn't really matter really. I mean, you do have to do certain challenges in order to unlock keys. The thing is, you don't really have to do all of them. It's just some of them in order to unlock certain keys. However, once you beat the game, you can go back and redo some of the challenges for rankings. And not to mention, of course, go back and play certain paths of each level, like I did in the modern. The modern levels and the classic also have different paths that you can choose to actually beat most of the levels. There's an easy path and a hard path, kind of like with Star Fox 64, but of course way more different than that, where it just completes brand new different, pathways to go to brand new levels and stuff. This doesn't really do that, but they do have harder paths to make the level even more challenging. So, while you could do an easy path, there are also hard paths you can also discover while going back after beating the game once. You could even beat it twice or as many times as possible. Overall, Sonic Generations is the best, and I say the best when it comes to celebrating a 20th anniversary and doing it right. I wish I could say the same thing for Mario when it came to the All-Stars. Even though I did really love the game, there was still so much it could have done in so little time. Oh well. Anyways, I give Sonic Generations, again, a score 9 out of 10. That's just my opinion. Tell me what your guys' opinions are on Sonic Generations in the comment section below. And that will do for this review. I'm Strawhat Ninja 89. Over now. See you on the bounce. Peace out, guys. Stay tuned for my anime movie reviews for my second one, which is Bleach, Fade to Black, I Call Your Name. So, later, guys. Peace.